AEVFX, Boston. We're using Mocha to track surfaces, which is one of my very favorite things to do. I absolutely love Mocha, and I love what you can do with it. So let's see what Andy has done.
Hey Boston, where's your key light at? Choke that mat if you know what's up. Listen, AEVFX is headed north, and we want you to join us. Because for us, VFX ain't a fad, it's a way of life.
Okay, good job, Andy. A couple of the things that I've noticed with his work here, bringing some animation to the logos themselves, so they're not just static on surfaces, but he's got this wipe on with this dropper tool here in the field of Fenway Park. And that looks very nice. The other examples here on this obelisk, this monument. And again, with the splatter on this building, which is probably my favorite.
Because for us,
so that's just a nice little personal flourish that he's added that I think works really nicely. I'm seeing a lot of solid tracks, and I'll point out some areas that I look for on this exercise that are common across pretty much everybody's work. I'm always looking out first to make sure that the tracks are solid on this first shot. It's kind of a softball, or a baseball, I guess I should say. On this shot here, well, he hasn't, oh no, yeah, he hid the little logo down here. I did not even notice that. Usually people place it on the brick here, in which case I look to see if the brick texture is showing through, and you'll see that on subsequent examples. But that's looking pretty nice. Oh, and he's got another wipe on. Wow, I was totally blind when I first watched this, apparently. On this shot, I always look to see how the light leak of the sun is affecting the color of your logo, and to see if it does wash out the sides and if it kind of shows through. And depending on the blend mode you use, that should be pretty automatic. The black levels are pretty appropriate here. I think that looks really nice. You can go too dark because the scene as a whole doesn't really have any pure black in it. So if you're kind of matching the darkness levels of this shadow or the darker parts of his clothes, you'll be in good shape. Nice track on the boat. Oh yeah, Andy ran into some problems you might have seen on the Facebook group trying to track this particular area, and Mocha was freaking out for some unknown reason. So I'm going to dive into his project file later and try to figure that out. Looking good. This shot was pretty tricky. Almost everybody has some kind of wiggle in the track, either of the floor or the wall, and I'm not 100% sure why that happens, but it's almost universal that every student submission has some wiggle waggle going on. So we will kind of dive into how that is happening. But anyway, good job, Andy. Next up, let us look at Audra.
hey Boston, where's your key light at? Choke that mat if you know what's up. Listen, AEVFX is headed north, and we want you to join us. Because for us, VFX ain't a fad, it's a way of life.
I love this assignment because the brief is much more open, so you can kind of go crazy and do what you want, and everybody's personality comes out a little bit, or just everybody makes different decisions. You'll see Audra's done a really nice job tracking the logo here on this brick, and you see that brick texture showing through in places that really sells the reality of it. This is a very believable shot. The blacks are a little too dark, I feel, on the fence shot here. I would probably lift those a little bit. Other than that, though, the track looks great, and the light leak is appropriately affecting the layer, so that's great. Look at the black levels matching the rest of the shot. This looks great. And maybe a baby bit of drifting on this one, but this is a really solid track, and I love the way that the weathering shows through on that logo. Very nice work from Audra. Okay, Lawrence.
Hey Boston, where's your key light at? Choke that mat if you know what's up. Listen, AEVFX is headed north, and we want you to join us. Because for us, VFX ain't a fad, it's a way of life.
All right. I tend to work backwards and just talk about the last thing I saw. So if we track back here a little bit, you'll see that the floor, you kind of have a little bit of a jello thing going on with the logo stretching, and I have a feeling that the track caught some portion of the dancer's body because the movement sort of matches that, you know, the movement to the left maybe. But I also want to note the excellent job of compositing and really getting that dusty, not pure black look, because the still frame of this looks absolutely perfect. I really like that. So just getting that track right, and that will totally sell. One of my very favorite bits from any of the submissions really is the way that this logo comped onto the escalator stair so nicely. I love the way the texture shows through, and I love the variation in the light and the way that it's really, really bright directly under the lights here and kind of fades as it gets farther away. That's looking fantastic, really eye-catching. And these are kind of fun on the side, although I wish that a little more texture was showing through, because they do kind of look like they're floating, even though they're tracked very nicely. But this, this logo on the escalator is top-notch. Alrighty, so good work from Lawrence. Last but not least, let's look at our work from Robert.
Hey Boston, where's your key light at? Choke that mat if you know what's up. Listen, AEVFX is headed north, and we want you to join us. Because for us, VFX ain't a fad, it's a way of life.
Okay, so we got a little bit of the drifting on the last shot, which is pretty common. Also, the colors are a bit dark. I think a little bit of bringing up those shadow levels will help sell that a little bit, and some weathering. But the great stuff. Check out this water. Doesn't that look fantastic? The logo on the water there in the lower right. The shimmery, wavy. That looks really great. I love that. Really nice job matching the colors on these logos. I feel like they're stretched a bit vertically, but I feel like the track and the color correction are excellent. I love the way this logo stands out. It's glowing maybe a tad too much, reflecting a bit too much light, but I do like the overall color correction and the way that it looks like the paint is of varying thickness or something. It feels a little more realistic to me. And this logo on the building also looks fantastic. So very solid work from Robert. Okay, those are some of the class examples of the AEVFX project.